You're here to check out the install of the Hotchkis sway bar. This is the rear. I've already installed the front. It's in a different video. You can see that at the end of this one, or I'll link it here. The rear should be easy to put on. We're gonna see. So, out of everybody who watches my channel, only 5% subscribe. So hit the subscribe button today. Hit the bell to get notified. Hit the like button on my videos. It'll get it out there to people who need it. Anyway, let's check this out. So first thing we have to do, we have to jack the car up, put it on jack stands. I put the jack stand under the front subframe mount. And then we obviously took off the wheels on both sides. We're going to need the wheels off in order to get the bar out. Hopefully the car is up high enough. Shouldn't be a problem, but let me tell you, the front was really difficult. If you guys haven't watched that video, check it out. It's on the ZL1. It's quite a bit different than the SS because of a few extra parts that are on the car that aren't on the SS. So anyway, let's get going on this. I want to see how hard this one's going to be. First thing we're going to do is take the end links out. Those are 15 millimeter. So these end links are going to be replaced by ones that are in the kit. So we want to go ahead and take them completely out. Plastic. Alright, now that the end link is completely out, we're going to turn our attention to the bushing mounts right here. These are 15 millimeter. Well, so were the end links. But I'm going to take these out now. Yeah, I might have to get a regular ratchet for that. I don't have room with my impact because of the muffler. Remember, I had already loosened these when it was on the lift before I even did the front. Not bad. Alright, got all the bolts out. That's way easier than the front. So before you go yarding that out of there, just take note of how it's going under the car so you don't get it upside down or left and right. Okay, so I disconnected the rear of the exhaust on the hangers here, both sides, and also up here, and I've got a jack under it so it doesn't completely fall and stress out my headers. So I've got a jack under it so I can lower this down and give myself some clearance. Use a little bit of Windex on it. I know people say, it's got ammonia in it. It's not soaking in it. It's just there for a short time. It'll be fine. Okay, so that is completely loose in the back and sitting on that jack. Just a smidge. that made the difference. Whee! Okay. That wasn't bad. All right. Hotchkis OEM. Wasn't too bad to get out. So it is adjustable. I'll be putting it in the middle one to start off with. And this is exactly the way it came out of the car. Just like that. That's the right. You can tell by these, that's the top that gets mounted. So we're gonna put this in, and then we're gonna get the bushings back to the bench, lube them up, and install should be pretty easy. Putting the exhaust back on is gonna be a pain. I hate doing those hangers, but the Windex really helps. Left side's going in. Now this should be pretty easy. It'll lift it up above the wheel well and the caliper on the outside there. Yeah, way easier than the front. That was basic. Wonder what those are for. I mean, they look like spacers for these, but why? Again, these have a hole right here that's supposed to match up with that Zerk right there. I'm sure they do every time. Blue Loctite for whatever reason. They gave me 2 tubes for the back. Nice piece. Very nice. So these are going to have to be adjusted for length. And I'm not sure why these spacers are here, so I'm going to refer to the instructions. Yeah, they put enough of that on there. It's aluminum. So here's where they talk about the height of these. Adjust to 7 inches for stock ride height. I'm not at stock ride height, I'm an inch lower. So, obviously it's not gonna be stock, but they don't tell me what to do. And as far as these go, that is listed here. But what they're showing is the axle boot and the heim joint has to be within 1/8 of an inch. If it's too close, then you have to use the spacers underneath the bracket, and that'll pull that away from that boot. So, wheels are hanging, it says. End link is positioned on the soft hole setting, the closest one to the end. So they've got the heim joint all the way out to the end of the very last hole in the bar, and the suspension is hanging, and that's when you take your measurement. Suspension's hanging already because we got the tires off, so we can go ahead and put these heim joints in and get these bushings lubed up and get them pressed in there, at least finger tight. The service manual isn't a whole lot of help with this, which is why you haven't seen me really break it out. I referred to it for some torque settings, and I'll do that on this one as well, so stay tuned. This stuff is thick. Probably too hard to see, but there's channels to let the grease move. I'm just kind of packing those channels in there. So I want to say this is special grease, and it is to some extent. It's Just going to put a little bit of grease on the inside of those bushings. Now, if you drive your car in the rain a lot, you're probably going to need to grease your bushings more. Okay. Good. So we'll put them on the bar like that, and then we'll put the bushing over the top, because see, they're split. Yeah. But on the bar, there's a welded ring. That welded ring goes to the inside of this bushing. So the bushing will kind of go to the outside of it, like so. Like I said, we're going to go ahead and use this spacer for now. And we're going to slide that bar in. And we're going to put the last bolt in. When they measure these 7-inch, they're measuring with this compressed here, the center of these bushings to the center of this heim joint, 7-inch for stock. The instructions say to adjust it to the height desired. Well, that doesn't really tell me what to do. The inside of this hole is 1 inch deep. I measured it with the caliper. And I would like to set this at 6.5. As you can see, it still has a little bit more to go. So I'm going to take my wrenches and I'm going to tighten it up a little bit. You don't have to get all technical with this. I'm not measuring this to the thousandths. It's just easier for me to use this than a ruler, because I don't have a ruler right handy. So that's 6.5. So I like that. Yeah, it's 6.5. We're going to keep that there. I'm not going to tighten that up yet, just because I don't know if I'm going to need to change it. It needs to come down a little bit. Looks good. Good enough. Probably going to move it anyway. So these are ready to put on. They're adjusted to 6.5 to start. Yeah, let's go. Turn that off. So they're showing the heim joint between the knuckle and the bar with the nut toward the inside. So that's how we're going to do it. So at the end of this ball stud, there's an Allen socket. And that's so you can keep this from rotating while you tighten the nut. So I'm going to tighten this on now, and just let the ball joint rotate when the bar needs to move. Because I have a feeling this might be a little bit difficult to get to with the spring in the way. So we're going to go ahead and tighten everything up to drive the car, and if I want to adjust it later, I'll figure out what to do then. I'm going to put that on. This nylock. They don't say anything about using blue Loctite with a nylock. Probably don't need it. You can use it if you want. It's not going to hurt. But you know, if I take the nut off again, I might put some Loctite or get a new nut. So the factory service manual has the stock one being tightened down to 52 foot-pounds. That's a lot. That's a lot to have to do right now. I'm going to tighten it by hand, and if I can torque it like that when it's on the car, great. If not, I'm going to be doing it by hand anyway, because if I can't get a torque wrench on it and I need to move this from that hole to that hole or wherever, I'm not going to be torquing it anyway. Kind of got to go back and forth because I don't have a helper. I'll make sure the bushings go on correctly. Washer goes on correctly. 18 millimeter on the bottom. And all I'm doing, I'm just turning it enough so the stud comes out the nut. I'll tighten it up on the lift. There we go. And I'm just going to straighten that out. There you go. Got the torque wrench here. Got it set to 43 foot-pounds. We're going to go ahead and tighten these up. That's tight, that's tight. Let's double check that one again. Alright. Good for the neck, right? Alright, that's good. Alright, so I sprayed all the hangers for the exhaust with Windex, including this one. And it's a lot easier to put this on when the car's on the ground, believe it or not. I've done it on the lift and it's kind of a pain. I have to use a transmission jack to lift it up. It's a lot easier because with your back on the ground, you can push up on this with your knee or whatever, and those just slide on with both hands. You can grab them and everything. So not like you're gonna drive this off and you know, it's not like you're gonna put the wheels on and drive it with the exhaust hanging. Obviously you don't want to do that. You want to get it back together. So alright, well that is finished. Got that torque down 43 foot-pounds. All the nuts are started and this is finished. I'm going to put the tires on and turn it around and get it on the lift and finish torquing the end links right there. Going to torque that and then make sure the other end of the end link is tight on the bar, and then check the front and we should be good, ready to road test. Alright, so now the car's up on the rack, we can make sure everything's clearing, nothing's hitting or anything. I'm going to take my 17 millimeter and tighten up this end link. Remember, we tightened these up here already. According to the service manual, this one's only supposed to be 19 foot-pounds, but it's got a lot of thread to go before it really starts getting kind of tight. I did the other side, and at first I thought the bar was in upside down because the sticker's upside down when you're looking at it from underneath the car. That's why I laid it down next to the one when I took it out, just to make sure I didn't try putting it in upside down. Of course, every tool has to come out. Every tool's got to come out. Before lowering the rear end back onto the ground, make sure all hardware is fully tightened. You are finished with the sway bar installation. So you don't have to be in neutral stance to tighten the hardware. It all slips anyway. It's all greased and it's all ball jointed. It's not like a lower control arm or something where you have to clock a bushing. Well, makes me feel better. I look at the front bar and its sticker's upside down too. Okay, so I did check in the instructions. It does say to tighten the nut until the bushing starts to get compressed. I checked with some other things online. They say the same thing. So these aren't like the Moog style that have a sleeve where you tighten them up, and once it's the sleeve is tight, it preloads the bushing. This isn't that way.
they're leaving this with some flexibility here. So this nut will not bottom out on the thread. You're just going to tighten it up till the bushing get some compression on it, and just make it even on both sides. Now, I have the car on the lift a lot. I check all my torque spots. You can see where I've painted them, so I can see if things move. I'll be keeping an eye on these to see if they're starting to back out as well. So we're going to go ahead and give this a little bit more tight, a little bit more tightening, and then get it the same on both sides, and we're going to be done here. Yeah, I can see there's a real slight curve to the bushing. Yeah, the amount of threads coming out of this one looks pretty close. So I'm not going to worry about measuring it. So that's done. We torque that by hand. The bushings up here are torqued. The sticker's on upside down. Awesome. So I took the car out last night for a little spin. It was dark. There's a lot of deer, so I didn't get too crazy, but it handled really well. I didn't detect any body roll at all. Hit some turns pretty fast for what they were. So the front bar on this Hotchkis is 100% stiffer than the ZL1 stock bar. The rear bar is 10%, 25%, and 45% stiffer than the ZL1 bar. Now, those are based on which hole you have it adjusted to in the rear, and that's to tune understeer and oversteer. We'll probably get to that. We're going into winter pretty well here, so I'm not going to be doing that anytime soon. But anyway, thanks for watching the video. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like the video, share with your friends, and come back for more content. We'll see you next time. Bye.